Hey guys, Mari and I are back with our first challenge of 2018, and it is the highlights of the previous year, 2017. So I really liked my layout from last year. I had fun doing it, and I felt like I was going to have a hard time topping the layout that I did last year. And I won't say that I topped it, but I will say that I do really like the way that it came out. Now, I did use my silhouette to cut out these numbers, but if you do not have a silhouette, this can easily be done with a printer and a craft knife, meaning that you just cut out the number, you print your numbers from a printer in a large size, and then you space them out on your page and you lightly trace around them, and then you use a craft knife and cut them out. You just need a non-stick mat to put underneath your cardstock, and yes, it does take a little bit longer to do it this way. I did things like that many years before I actually had a silhouette. I started scrapbooking in 2000, so using cut files before you had a cutting machine was actually something that we like to do. So don't let the fact that you don't own a cutting machine stop you from doing something simple and fun like this. So I hope that inspires someone that doesn't have a cutting machine. So I'm just backing the numbers with some different pattern papers. I have chosen some photos, just random photos over the year that have either, one or all of us in them, and I'm going to put them in a horizontal strip above the numbers. Now, if you guys know me and have followed me for any length of time, you already know what I'm planning to do with those numbers, and I am just trying to think now if I want to stitch around them with my machine or hand stitch, and what color thread that I want to use. So because I don't know what I want to do first, I'm going to trim the photos. Now, these photos I printed both in color and black and white because I wasn't quite sure which ones I was going to use. I love color photos, I love black and white photos, but sometimes I really feel like a certain photo looks best in color or a certain one looks best in black and white. And I was looking to see which photos I thought looked best with the patterns that I chose. I chose very neutral patterns, thinking that most of the photos that I had printed would look well. And as I'm doing this, I felt like a couple of the photos would stand out better in black and white, and a couple would stand out better in color. So in just a minute, you are going to see that I actually mix my photos up, and I'm going to have some color and black and white photos. Now, what I'm doing when I'm arranging them, I am not arranging these by date that they were taken. I am just going to arrange them to where they are aesthetically pleasing on the page. I don't feel like, or I didn't feel the need to have these by date. Now, if I were doing one from each month, then maybe I would, have that feeling that it would need to be done like that. But I didn't. So what I'm doing is I'm just alternating color and black and white, and I'm trying to get to where, if they're like the picture of my daughter looking it's to her left, but it's looking off the right hand side of the page. I wanted to make sure that there was something else that she was looking at, that it didn't look like she was looking off the page. So I am going to go ahead and mount these photos. I trimmed them down. They are size 2x2, and I'm going to mount them on some white cardstock just so that I can primarily move them around as a unit. Plus, I did want to have a thin white border around the photos. I do feel like that just helps with that film strip look, and I just like the way it looks. So that is what I'm going to be doing. And, from there, my plans for this page, I really don't know. I'm, kind of stuck. I have had, like I'm sure most people, a tremendously busy holiday between, work and holiday stuff and trying to do fun things with the kids and just, trying to do life. And, you know, when I get too busy and when life gets a little too crazy, I really have a hard time scrapbooking. And it's not because I don't want to scrapbook. It is because I end up having little bits of time to do things, and I feel like my mojo never really gets a chance to jumpstart itself. So this has really been the first time in a month that I have been able to sit down for any extended period of time and scrapbook. So I was very thankful for that. So I did pick 2 different patterns to mount my film strip. I'm going to call it a film strip just for lack of a better word. I picked 2 different patterns. I picked a pale pink with white polka dots and a white and black stripe. These papers are from various Felicity Jane kits. I have several in my stash. I've been using different papers. You know, some of the kits that I haven't, maybe I've used most of the embellishments, but I still have papers. So I have a tub where I just put a lot of the things in if they're not still in kits. But I do believe that the 2 kits that the papers and I pull out a few embellishments, but I only use, I think, 1, were from the Kate and Jane kits. So I'm just going through the die cuts and the ephemera right now just to see if there's anything that I want to use. Everything that I have pulled out right now, none of these things actually make it onto the page. So at this point I thought I'm going to go ahead and stick the photos down, but then I remembered I did want to stitch, and I do not want to stitch with the photos adhere to the page, and I will tell you why. The photos themselves don't weigh a lot, but they weigh enough to where I felt like it would bend the page, and I needed to have the page as light as possible just to try to prevent any bends in the cardstock. I don't know if that makes sense or not. So I don't make you watch me do all of that. I decided to go ahead and I just did a simple back stitch in black thread. I actually sent a picture to Mari when I was doing this. My daughter had conditioning for softball, and I took it with me so that I could watch her lift weights and do running and strength training, and I was doing this. So it just goes to show sometimes you can scrapbook wherever you go. It just may not necessarily be, you know, pasting. I could definitely have done fussy cutting, you know, just be creative when you are busy like me, and see what you can get done when you are not necessarily at your craft table. So I decided that I wanted to do some bullet journaling, and I thought at first I wanted to do it below the title itself, but I wanted to do hashtag highlights underneath, but the alphabet that I had did not have enough H's. These are also from Felicity Jane. I really liked this alphabet for a couple of reasons. Number one, it's a pretty shiny gold, and it has a reflection, you know, hence the reflection part of the title. And it was just, it seemed like to be the perfect size to fit underneath the 2017. I had other alphabets that were either taller or a little bit wider, and it didn't look right. So that was, you know, why I ended up just sticking with this one. And I've decided that on the tag, I'm going to number the photos, and on the tag, I'm going to write the journaling that corresponds with the photo. Now, the journaling on this is not going to be huge. And I will tell you a few of the things. I don't even have to pull the tag out. Like the first one, Emily got her braces off. So, you know, it's her new smile. Number 2, we had our 19th anniversary. Number 3 was Patrick's senior portraits. Number 4 was a family cruise to the Bahamas. Number 5 was Patrick's senior night and marching band. Number 6 was a family portrait that we had done. Number 7 was Emily's homecoming. And number 8 was our Christmas card photo. So off camera, I am going to stamp numbers 1 through 8, and you will be able to see those in the close-ups. And I just write out the journaling that I told you about, just in bullet form. And that's another tip for you if you want to journal but don't really, you know, if you get stuck in what to say, and, you know, having a wonderful sounding. You know, some people just have the gift of storytelling, and some people have the gift of writing that journaling down, and it just sounds so wonderful. You know, sometimes I can journal from my heart and it sounds great, and other times it just does not want to come out. So if you get stuck like that, just do it in a bullet point, just like I did. It makes it so easy. You get the words down that you needed to, especially if it's not like a very heartfelt, or, you know, if they're more factual things that you're trying to tell. It's a great way to get your journaling down. Plus, when you have a tag that's hidden like this, it you know, makes the page a little bit more interactive, and it definitely, I think, adds a little bit of a fun factor. The only thing that I guess I could put on there would be to, you know, like a poll or journaling included, but I don't know. It doesn't matter if nobody else sees it. It's just for me. So I've had a question before. I am going to make my own reinforcer, and they wanted to know what size of hole punches that I used. So I went ahead and measured them out. They are 1/4 inch and 1/2 inch. We Are Memory Keepers has a reinforcer punch now. I have looked at it, and oh, it is so tempting just because I like things like that. But I've got these circle punches and they work. So I am going to try and behave and not bring that punch into my stash. So we will see how long that lasts. So one of the final things that I am going to do is add some sequins from Spiegelmom Scraps. I forget the name of this collection that I'm using. I think it's something rustic. It is gorgeous, and the colors that I use just have a pale pink tone to them, and they just are definitely one of the things that I enjoy putting on my pages right now. So I'm taking some twine from my stash, and I'm going to tie a little bow, and for whatever reason it took a second time to make the perfect little bow tie. And I'm going to trim off the ends, and off camera, the one thing I do is I put a little multi-matte medium on the ends of the twine just so that it won't unravel. You can do this with like Fray Check, and I'm sure some other glues will work. Just experiment. If you don't have the Fray Check like I did, the multi-matte medium works well. So this is pretty much it. I do come back at the end of the page, and I add, or at the end of the video, while I'm looking at it, and I add 2 black and white polka dot enamel hearts up. I put them on both of the rows or the flower clusters, and the reason why I did that was just to bring a little pop of black. Since I had outlined the numbers in black, I felt like the page needed just a little something else, so that was what I chose to do. So be sure and stop and check out Mari's video. I have seen a glimpse of her layout, and it is gorgeous, gorgeous. And we would love for you to participate in this challenge. We do have a Facebook group. We are very laid back in this Facebook group, and we'd love for you to join. I will put a link in the description below, as well as trying to link any of my different supplies that I've used. So thanks so much, guys. It has been so good to get back into my scrap room and to be creating pages. I will have some more videos coming up for you soon. Take care. I will see you soon. Bye.